From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your Evening Update.
Cascade Paint & Supply is Reading's oldest family-owned paint store, established in 1953. We are the largest Dunn Edwards dealer in the nation, and most of our products are made in the U.S. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff are ready to answer your questions and help you today.
Happy Friday evening to you. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger, and this is something you may have been seeing or kind of floating around social media. Yeah, look at all of California is not in any form of drought. It's not dry, it's not moderate, severe, extreme, or exceptional. It's surrounding us, right? But California has seen a lot of rainfall so far this season, and that is a good thing from the stand of drought, but not so great with all the flooding that we did see with all that. But hey, that's all good, right? That we can take out of this. The reservoirs are nice and healthy as well. All right, so let's get into your Krueger's Quick Cast for your Friday, January 9th. All right, it's Friday evening. We're getting ready for the night. You may need to bring that coat if you're heading out tonight because it's going to be cold, although these temperatures you see here are going to be late night and early tomorrow morning. But, I mean, look at that. You're getting into the teens and 20s again for especially the areas east of the valley. So tomorrow morning, you're getting ready for a hike or taking the dog out for a walk or whatever. Note that it's going to be a cold start to the day. Obviously, especially in the mountains where temperatures by 8 o'clock in the morning will be in the 20s. So we do have a storm system off to our west. That is approaching, but we've got high pressure building in, and that's going to keep us from seeing any rainfall. But it's not going to prevent us from seeing any clouds. I do expect we'll see partly to mostly cloudy skies here for tomorrow as some of those clouds from the west move in, but we're not going to see any rain or snow coming out of it. So for tomorrow, as mentioned, partly to mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures low 50s, low to mid 50s for the valley, and in the 40s to low 50s for the higher elevations and mid 50s for the coast. We take a look at that 7-day outlook. Again, the disclaimer for the valley is fog. If we see fog, you're not going to get up to 70 on Wednesday for Reading, okay? Just a quick reminder of that. However, if that fog decides to burn off or you don't see any fog, yeah, you're talking 70 degrees. So yeah, we're going to have to continue to monitor that fog and that potential for it. We take a look at the 7-day forecast for the coast, inland, and for Trinity County. Well, there will be some morning valley, mountain, and even inland valley fog, but I do expect as you get above that fog, you'll certainly see those much warmer temperatures as we do go into next week. So as mentioned, we are going to be looking at those cold mornings. Dry and mild pattern for that long range. Really, as far as the eye can see, I'm not seeing any rain, and I'm seeing this ridge of high pressure in place for quite a while. Return to the fog? Well, maybe be taking that question mark off, especially as we start going into the weekend, but you get the idea. We are expected to see that fog possibly return, and we're to talk about that in our Deeper Dive forecast, which is sponsored by Shasta Hearing Aids.
Frank, come help with the dishes.
What?
The dishes!
I heard it the first time. I just got back from Shasta Hearing Aids, but she doesn't know it yet. What?
Forget it.
So we take a look at the big picture here, and you can see the clouds here. You can see a ridge of high pressure right here. Now, this is not a very strong ridge of high pressure yet, but it's strong enough to prevent this storm from barreling on through and giving us rain and wind and colder temperatures. But what it won't do is it won't prevent most of these clouds from moving through. So this is what we call a dirty ridge of high pressure. Because with ridges of high pressure, you typically have sunny skies, right? That's sinking air and the works, right? So this cloud cover is expected to push through, and it will, and that'll prevent us from warming up a whole lot, but we'll call it partly to mostly cloudy skies for tomorrow. Now, there's the ridge. You see how it's getting stronger and stronger as we go into next week. A couple of storm systems riding over it, kind of hindering some of its strengthening, but eventually it does take over. I mean, look at this. This is looking a week from this upcoming weekend. I mean, if this holds true, this is a very strong ridge of high pressure for this time of the year. And again, we talk about the overall setup for that potential for more of that valley fog, right? Think about, I'll tell you what we saw with the last fog event, and that's essentially what we got setting up now. So with the last fog event, before that happened, we saw a lot of rainfall in Northern California. Okay, so we saw that. Then on top of that, high pressure built in, and that allowed for clear skies. It allowed for us to see that fog develop. because you get that radiational cooling, that cooler air sinks into the valley, you get that temperature inversion, so that warmer air above traps in the fog, you see calm winds. All of the ingredients were there for that fog, and all the ingredients based on the forecast models are also there for that fog to redevelop. So let's take a look at what the forecast, and this is the same forecast model, by the way, that I was using during the fog event, and it actually did a pretty good job. So let's take a look at what we're looking at here. As we go into tomorrow morning, there's some of the fog. Now this doesn't look to be very dense, but there will be some areas of dense fog in the Sacramento and the San Joaquin Valley. All right, but you can see it does make its way into the southern portions of our area. Glenn and Butte counties in particular seeing some of that fog. Then you can see as we go through the day, that fog dissipates pretty quickly. But look at this. By Saturday night, we're seeing that fog begin to reemerge, and it'll probably get even more so by the time we go into Sunday morning as well. And we also may start to see it creep its way into places like Tehama County eventually on Sunday, and then maybe even out towards Shasta County by Monday. So you can kind of see the progression as it works its way northward. We've got that potential for that fog. Now, one of the other ingredients we talk about are the winds. If you've got calm winds, then you're going to be looking at nothing to really scour out that fog. So there's Saturday. We take a look at Sunday, still some fairly calm winds. We take a look at Monday, you're not seeing those winds pick up. So again, we're seeing all of those ingredients begin to take place, and that is going to really help to support the development of that fog. Now, looking at the overall pattern here, drier than normal conditions are still in that long range, and warmer than normal conditions are in the long range. However, keep in mind that when we look at this 10-day trend, the temperature of around 70 by the middle and latter part of next week will all depend if we see fog or not. If the fog doesn't develop, then yes, we're talking 70. But if the fog sticks around for a while, it's going to be actually below the mid-50s, and it will be significantly cooler than what you're seeing here. So that's just kind of a disclaimer, even when you're looking at your 7-day forecast. So you can see here, looking at your wave heights, they are fairly low as we go into your Saturday, but Sunday, they actually may start to increase a little bit as well. So looking at your neighborhood forecast, sponsored in part by Dignity Health, temperatures are starting to slowly increase, as we can see here in the low 50s for Trinity County. Now, keep in mind, in the mountain valleys, there may very well be a chance for some of that fog for some of those mountain and even those inland valleys. All right, so just kind of remember that. But there you can see temperatures are increasing even for the coast in the low 60s. Up north, 56 for Gasquet, 54 degrees for Orleans, and Hoopa for your Saturday, about 55 degrees. Now for Siskiyou County, it's still cool, right? We're still only getting in the 40s, but at least we're breaking out of those 30s that we've seen here and even getting into the 60s by the time we get into early next week, around Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. And for Modoc County, we're also breaking out of those 30s and getting into the 40s for your Saturday. So it should make for a more pleasant day, not quite as cold, but keep in mind too, there will be some clouds out there, so still a bit chilly. There still are some spots that'll have a hard time getting out of the 30s, like Westwood and even Susanville, possibly around 39, 40 degrees. But look at Shingletown, 54, 53 degrees in Paradise. We take you out to the valley where temperatures there still in the low 50s. And again, one of the factors that's preventing us from warming up much is because of the added cloud cover. Now we look at that 7-day forecast for Chico. We've got mostly cloudy skies. Now, again, we're going to be really adjusting the 7-day forecast through the weekend and into next week because we've got to really watch that potential for that fog developing. So 54 degrees for Redding, 54 degrees for Anderson, 53 degrees in Red Bluff for your Saturday, and Whiskeytown about 55. There's your 7-day forecast for Redding. Those temperatures low to mid 60s for Monday, Tuesday. And again, if we don't see that fog, you're talking 70 by Wednesday. That's your evening update. Of course, Chase Wilson will be in throughout the weekend to give you the latest on the forecast and what that fog may do. Of course, I'll be back on Monday on Coffee with Krueger. Until then, have yourselves a great night and an even better weekend.
When you see flashing lights, someone's life depends on us.
And while we're out helping crash victims, we need your help to keep us safe. Move over, slow down, it's the law, it protects everyone.
Our crews are out here every day, keeping the roads safe for you and your family.
We're often the last ones on scene, and we want to make it home safe too.
Protect those who protect you, slow down and move over.